What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be ranking NFL running backs tiers A through F, just like we did yesterday with the quarterbacks. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick. Well, yesterday we had the QBs. Today we have the running backs, and it's only natural that we make this progression and go through A through F, all of the running backs that we have in the NFL.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. We're not going to talk about specific players. We're going to talk about the player group for each team. So we might show a picture of a certain player. Just know we're talking about the entire team's running back group, not that specific player. So let's get right into it. Okay, so in the F tier, we have the Miami Dolphins group led by Myles Gaskin, the Atlanta Falcons led by Ito Smith, the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by James Conner, and the New York Jets, led by LaMichael Pirine. Myles Gaskin, he was okay last year. I believe he was a 7th-round pick, and for a 7th-round pick, he looked really solid. He has some upside, but he's not a guy you're going to want as your primary back moving forward. They also have Salvin Ahmed. You had Jordan Howard last year. This group just didn't have a true number one they could truly rely on. And so I think that they're going to be looking to upgrade at this position either in the draft or in free agency this offseason. But I expect there to be a new number one running back for the Miami Dolphins come next season. The Atlanta Falcons have Mike Davis, who they just signed, which is a good signing. He was solid in the wake of CMC's injuries. But they also have Ito Smith. I think these guys will be solid for Matt Ryan, but they're definitely not number ones. They're not going to be difference makers for the Atlanta Falcons. The Pittsburgh Steelers, James Conner's not there right now, but Benny Snell is there. I believe James Conner will be returning after the draft is over. I think that he'll be reuniting with them as well as with Juju Smith. I think that James Conner and Benny Snell are just like everybody else. They're not number ones. James Conner tried to be a number one. He was a good offset to Le'Veon Bell for a year, but James Conner has proven he can't do it by himself. He's too slow. He's just doesn't have the moves a running back needs to put on defenders at the NFL level. And then for the Jets, they just don't have anybody. You got rid of Le'Veon Bell last season. You had Frank Gore play most of the season, and you had LaMichael Pirine, who you drafted in the middle of last year's draft, who got hurt, unfortunately. He was having a solid season, but even when healthy, he's not a number one, so don't expect him to be their starter moving forward. All four of these teams are going to be looking for a true number one, either in the draft or free agency, but as it stands, these position groups are in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the Atlanta Falcons had Todd Gurley last year, and Ito Smith and Mike Davis, even combined, are not Todd Gurley. The Steelers, they had the James Conner experiment, didn't really work out in their favor. And LaMichael Pirine with the New York Jets doesn't make a whole lot of Jets fans too happy. You know, part of supporting your quarterback is getting competent pieces around him. Well, Joe Douglas has gotten Corey Davis to join Denzel Mims and, Jamison Crowder. Well, what about the tight end position? And what about the running back position? LaMichael Pirine and Frank Gore just are not going to be difference makers for this team, which is why they can see why we find them in the F tier at this moment in time. Next up, we have the D tier, and we start off with the Arizona Cardinals, led off by Chase Edmonds. Then we go to the San Francisco 49ers, who are led by Raheem Mostert. Then we have the Chicago Bears, led by David Montgomery. The Denver Broncos, led by Melvin Gordon. The Philadelphia Eagles, led by Miles Sanders. The Los Angeles Chargers, led by Austin Eckler. The Seattle Seahawks, led by Chris Carson. And the Buffalo Bills, led by Devin Singletary. Starting off with the Cardinals, Chase Edmonds is a great offset back. He's a great change of pace back, but he is not a lead back. I look for the Cardinals to move back in the draft and probably get either Travis Etienne or Najee Harris to complement what Chase Edmonds can do. He's not going to break any sort of game. You don't want him as your lead back behind Kyler Murray. You need somebody who's going to be able to pass protect a little bit better, somebody who can make off schedule plays. Chase Edmonds just isn't that guy. The San Francisco 49ers, they've lost a lot of pieces. I mean, they were 3 deep at one point when it came to the running back room, and they've lost a lot of those pieces. Now they're left with Raheem Mostert, who has a bit of an injury history, but nonetheless is still a competent running back. They need a lot more depth in this room, and Raheem Mostert just can't do it himself. The Chicago Bears have David Montgomery. Montgomery is a really solid running back, and I'd say he's pretty average. You know, he's exactly what you're looking for if you're looking for a uh, consistent running back. But there's not a lot of help behind him. You have Tariq Cohen behind him as well, but Tariq Cohen has shown that he's a better special teamer than he is an actual running back. So, I mean, can these guys actually work out together? Maybe it'll be better if they have a competent quarterback at the helm. We'll see, but right now they haven't shown that these two can actually get it done. Melvin Gordon in Denver makes a lot of people happy, but they had Philip Lindsay last year to offset him. Philip Lindsay's now gone. So what are the Denver Broncos going to do now? And Melvin Gordon is not known for his ability to stay healthy, and without anybody in that room that's going to be able to offset him or keep him, keep his snaps at bay, Melvin Gordon is most likely going to get injured again. And that's not something the Denver Broncos want to hear, but it's the truth. So they got to get somebody that they can rely on behind him, because Melvin Gordon is not the long-term answer for them. In Philadelphia, Miles Sanders is a really good prospect. He's a really good young running back. He has shown a lot when he's on the football field, but he doesn't get a ton of opportunities, and the way they utilize the running game is lackluster at best. And then I'm not sure if he, like Chase Edmonds, can handle being a number one running back in the NFL, if he has the capability to do that just yet. I haven't seen enough. So far from what I've seen, it's pretty average. And then with the lackluster way of utilizing him, I think that's why we have him down in the D tier. The Los Angeles Chargers, on the other hand, Austin Eckler, he's pretty injury prone, and outside of him, they definitely have nobody. You got to fill up that running back room with competent players, competent people, and somebody you can rely on, because Austin Eckler can do a lot of things really well, but you need a bruiser, and that is not Austin Eckler's specialty. You need somebody in this room that's going to be able to create yards after contact, and we need somebody like that in that room. Chris Carson with the Seattle Seahawks is interesting, and a lot of people would have probably guessed that he might be higher on this list, but it just seems that Chris Carson struggles both with injuries and productivity toward the end of the season. He's great right out of the gate, and he gets some really good yards, but at the end of the day, there's really not a lot that you can talk about, especially when it comes against really good defenses. This guy struggles a lot. He cannot create his own yardage. He struggles with line of sight or his vision. And I believe that Chris Carson has a lot more to prove in Seattle than he has already shown. He has a lot of room to grow, and I'm excited about that. But at this point, he's been a bit of a letdown. And then the Buffalo Bills, they have Zach Moss, they have Devin Singletary, they have a couple pieces in this running back room, and these guys just haven't been able to perform consistently. One day it's Devin Singletary, one day it's Zach Moss, one day neither one of them can do anything. So you really never know what you're going to get with this running back group. If this team wants to make the leap to the next level, you got to get this room taken care of. You got to put somebody who knows what they're doing up into the upper echelon and bring them to the next level.
I think most of these teams actually fall into one of two categories. Either there's a lack of depth at the position and you have one solid running back and no one to help them out, no one to offset them, or the entire position group is just injury prone, like the 49ers, like the Los Angeles Chargers, like the Chicago Bears. These teams just don't stay healthy, and you can't count on them for the entire season, and that's why they're at a D tier. If they can start to prove that they can stay healthy and be a true X factor, a true weapon for their team. Now in the C tier, we have the Detroit Lions led by DeAndre Swift. We have the Baltimore Ravens led by J.K. Dobbins. We have the Cincinnati Bengals led by Joe Mixon. The Houston Texans led by David Johnson. The Kansas City Chiefs led by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The New England Patriots led by Damian Harris, and the Los Angeles Rams led by Cam Akers. DeAndre Swift, he was an up-and-comer. I wish he had more time, more reps last season, because towards the end of last year, we saw what he's fully capable of. He is absolutely dominant. He is as shifty as they come. He's as swifty as they come. But this position group got stronger after they added Jamal Williams this offseason, and they have Kerryon Johnson. They might have Adrian Peterson next season as well. It's a very deep pool. They've got a lot of great talent, and they could be on the rise very quickly. J.K. Dobbins, now that he's the lead back in Baltimore, should start to thrive. Mark Ingram was holding him back, and I think J.K. Dobbins is really gonna shine next to Lamar Jackson. They also have Gus Edwards, who also is a shiner for them. When nothing else is going right, you can count on Gus Edwards. Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard for the Cincinnati Bengals have always been a great 1-2 punch, a great offset to each other. Joe Mixon's the bruiser, Gio's the catching back. I just wish these guys could stay a little bit more healthy, be a little bit more consistent for Joe Burrow. Hopefully things can start turning around for the Bengals. The Houston Texans are on the rise for sure. David Johnson was there last year as their primary back, but now he's got Phillip Lindsay and Mark Ingram to help him out. They've got a three-headed monster now at running back, and I think that's what's really going to help all three of these guys revitalize their career. The Kansas City Chiefs have some young guys. They have Darrell Williams still, who opted out and they retained. They also have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who had a great rookie year for what it was. He didn't have many reps as a starter. Le'Veon Bell kind of bit into that once they signed him, so that was a little bit of a letdown. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams together know how to grind out yards. They know how to remove the sticks, and that's all part of their heavy passing attack, and they work perfectly in that system. The New England Patriots, once they added Damian Harris, that really helped out Sony Michel in the run game. They're a great 1-2 punch as well, but they also have guys like Brandon Bolden and James White that can be utility guys for them, help on third down and be receivers out of the backfield. They have a lot of running backs in this corps that can do a lot of different things, and you don't know exactly what they're going to be doing when they're out on the field. They could be blockers, they could be receivers, they could be runners. So they're very versatile in everything that they do. And the Los Angeles Rams have Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. These two guys are great. Cam Akers started to explode at the end of last season. He's going to really start to take off in year two now that he has the backfield all to himself. Darrell Henderson will be the third down back, the offset back for him. And I think now that this team has a stronger direction of where they're headed, this team is going to be performing a lot better on offense.
Yeah, two teams stand out to me in particular. I'm going to start off with the Houston Texans. This running back room has gotten a lot more aggressive. It's gotten a lot more veteran presence built into it. And I think a lot of what the issue was, about Deshaun Watson running for his life. Well, the running game never had a chance to breathe in Houston. So now that the offensive line has started to get fixed and really gotten some playmakers on that line, I think you're going to see this running attack actually flourish a little bit. So at the end of the year, I expect the Houston Texans to be up at least one tier. And then to take on the New England Patriots, what this rushing attack can really do, and I'm going to group them in with Baltimore because they have quarterbacks that can also be utilized as running backs. And I know we're talking about the running back games, but you have to account for everybody on the field when these quarterbacks are on there. And what these guys can do, what triple options and things like that, you can do a ton against any defense that's out there and really, really make defensive coordinators kind of shiver in their boots because there's not a lot that they can do to stop so much speed and power that these teams have. So I expect Baltimore, New England, and Houston to actually be up a level next year because I believe that all three of these running games are going to take the next leap and actually prove that they are above average and are going to provide a lot of production for these offenses. All right, next up we have the B tier, and we start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are led by James Robinson. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are led by a two-headed monster, by Ronald Jones and Lombardi, Lenny, Leonard Fournette. We have the Dallas Cowboys, who are led by Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. In New York, we have Saquon Barkley. And then with the Las Vegas Raiders, we have Josh Jacobs. Starting off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, we had an incredible burst of energy onto the scene in Jacksonville last year. And nobody was forewarned. Nobody knew about this guy, but except the Jacksonville Jaguars. They cut ties with Leonard Fournette prior to the beginning of the season, and everybody thought they were crazy. But that's because we didn't see what they had in that running back room. And James Robinson ended up being a phenomenal player for him for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was absolutely incredible. He did everything you could ask for. He received the ball well. He ran the ball well. Great vision. This guy can do it all. The only reason they're not A is because they need a little more depth behind him. I love what the Jacksonville Jaguars have in their running back room. They just have to get some more depth around him and help make sure that he stays healthy and secure, because if he's going to keep running at the same clip that he was behind Trevor Lawrence, look out, because this Jacksonville Jaguars offense is about to get a lot more potent than it ever has been. Moving over to the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have done an incredible job of retaining absolutely everybody from last year, except for one player so far. But they did bring back Ronald Jones, who is still under contract, and Lombardi Lenny, Leonard Fournette, who has been just an incredible offset to Ronald Jones. He has done incredible things. He has helped him in the receiving game. He is helped with limiting the snaps. These guys have both struggled with injury, and they're going to continue to work off of each other and continue to limit each other's reps. That way they stay fresh and healthy each and every snap that they are out there. In Dallas, you know exactly who you got. You got the man, the myth, the legend, Ezekiel Elliott, my favorite running back in the NFL, one of my favorite guys to know and talk to. But Ezekiel Elliott, he's an incredible talent, and what he can do out of the backfield can only be replicated by about two or three other guys in the NFL. I love what Dallas has. Tony Pollard has shown that he can take a lot of the carries as well, and he can do a lot. I like what we have here. The only reason they're down at the B tier is because they struggled a lot last year. A lot of it had to do with the fact that 4 out of 5 out of the offensive line was absolutely gone last year with injury. Now they get those guys back. Everybody comes back healthy. Let's see what they can do. Maybe at the end of the year, they'll be A tier. The New York Football Giants, Saquon Barkley is an automatic A tier type of guy, but he just can't stay healthy. He's torn 2 ACLs in the last 2 years. It's gotten to a point where he has gotten the injury prone tag on him, and it's unfortunate to say because of how much talent this guy absolutely has. But at the end of the day, the best ability is availability, and Saquon Barkley has not been available for the New York Giants. That's why we knocked them down to the B tier. And the Las Vegas Raiders, Josh Jacobs is an incredible talent. I love what he can do. I love what they have in this running back room. And they were able to bring in some extra talent this offseason. I can't wait to see what that all looks like. Josh Jacobs can receive the ball with the best of them, and he has incredible vision to run through holes. The offensive line that he has not always been the best. So what he's been able to do has been behind an average offensive line at best. I'm excited to see what he can do once they start progressing this thing and moving it forward.
Yeah, James Robinson was special last season for sure. And one guy they also have to watch out for is Raquel Armstead. Raquel Armstead got COVID early on and was out for the rest of the year. If COVID didn't strike him, then he would have been actually their number one running back. James Robinson was an undrafted rookie last year and only got the opportunity because they got rid of Leonard Fournette and Raquel got COVID. So with Raquel Armstead back next season, if he's fully healthy, this could be a great running back team, and they could even get better, which is scary to think about. I think that the Buccaneers are only going to get stronger now that they have a full season underneath them, and the chemistry is growing even stronger. If these running backs can learn to catch from Tom Brady, they'll be the full package. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, if these two can learn to hold on to the football, then they'll be a lot better as a tandem, and they'll be a lot more effective for the Dallas Cowboys. Saquon Barkley, like you said, he just needs to stay healthy. And Josh Jacobs, it seems like he may have lost the starting job to Kenyon Drake, but these two as a 1-2 punch is going to be really lethal because Josh Jacobs is a very strong runner. And the only reason he wasn't super effective last year and the year prior is because he had to do everything by himself. He didn't have a running mate. Now he has that. So this running back room in Las Vegas is looking a lot better. And finally, we have the A tier, starting off with the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Then we have the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry, King Henry. The Minnesota Vikings with Dalvin Cook, the Indianapolis Colts with Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, and Marlon Mack, the New Orleans Saints with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and the Carolina Panthers with Christian McCaffrey. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, by far and away, are the best tandem in the NFL. They are both number one running backs by themselves. Having them on a team together is just unfair to the rest of the league because they both can catch, they both can run, they can both tear down any defense. They get to do it with half the amount of reps, which means they get to stay fresh the entire game. Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans, the back-to-back rushing leader in the NFL. This guy just runs people over. If you want to, brighten your day up, go watch a stiff arm highlight reel from Derrick Henry. It'll make you laugh your ass off. Dalvin Cook for the Minnesota Vikings has been absolutely special. He puts up monstrous numbers, gets 3-4 touchdowns in some of his games. He is very consistent. You know what you're getting from him each and every week. You cannot underestimate this guy. Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts is a guy who's coming into his own, but he was only able to do that because they didn't have Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor together are going to be a scary power duo with Nyheim Hines as their receiving back. Very scary. Nyheim Hines had some of the most acrobatic plays from a running back I've ever seen last season, and I expect him to continue to do that till next season. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, it's a great offset to each other. Alvin Kamara had a fantastic 6-touchdown game last season, 6 rushing touchdowns by one guy. If it wasn't for Sean Payton, he would have had the record at 7, but they held him out for a play, and Lat Murray got the touchdown instead. Nonetheless, this running back room is stellar. The Green Bay Packers with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon is great. You don't need Jamal Williams anymore. A.J. Dillon proved when Aaron Jones got hurt, he could be the guy if he's called upon. Aaron Jones is a manimal. He works great with Aaron Rodgers, but with A.J. Dillon as his offset, a guy with the legs of Saquon Barkley, I think that this could be a very special team. And finally, with the Carolina Panthers, you may only have Christian McCaffrey, but that's really all you need. A healthy Christian McCaffrey is arguably the best running back in the NFL. He can run at an elite level. He can receive at an elite level. This guy is the complete and total package. He is everything you want in a running back. He's the ideal running back. There is nothing else you need besides the guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland Browns have an incredible dynamic 1-2 punch with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. These guys complement each other very well. They can both do incredible things, and Kevin Stefanski loves being able to rotate these guys in and out and really pound the football. He got back to the basics, and it seemed to work out for the Browns organization really well last year. The Tennessee Titans, King Henry ran for 2,000 yards last year. I mean, he has gone up every single year he's been in the NFL. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. This guy has 4 straight games of 200 plus yards against the division rival Houston Texans. If that ain't special, I don't know what is. This guy's a phenomenal player. Dalvin Cook, we all know what he can do. He can run the ball really well. He can catch the ball really well. He's in a very potent offense. So for him to be able to shine and really show that he can do everything that he needs to is everything you need to know. The Indianapolis Colts, they have a 3-headed monster. And when you have guys of this caliber of Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Nyheim Hines, these guys are going to eat and they are going to keep each other fresh. They're going to complement each other in different ways. And, they're going to learn from each other as well. So, you would think that maybe Jonathan Taylor's not as good of a catcher as Nyheim Hines. Well, watch out because Jonathan Taylor's learning how to catch from Nyheim Hines, and Nyheim Hines is learning how to run the ball a lot better from Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack. These guys they feed off of each other and they love working with each other. There's not a better trio in the NFL. Alvin Kamara, he is called the human cephalopod for a reason. This man does not go down. You can touch him and he just kind of like spins around like a pinball machine, and he never gets tackled. It's crazy the way he can move and how shifty he is. He is one of the best to ever do it. And 6 touchdowns in one game, like you said, doesn't get better than that. Green Bay Packers, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. They bring back Aaron Jones, and you saw what these guys could do last year. They provided a lot of stability for Aaron Rodgers. I like what the Packers have here. And then Christian McCaffrey, as long as he can stay healthy, which has been most of his career so far, then we don't have any issues. He did get hurt last year, and he could have come back, but Matt Rule decided, you know what, we're not going anywhere. There's no reason to bring him back. Let's just, hold him out and make sure he's healthy for next year. And, he is the epitome of what you're looking for in a running back. Receives the ball at a wide receiver level, runs the ball at a top running back level, and he can block in pass protection. There's not much more you can ask for from a running back, and I absolutely love everything this guy can do. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.